So I went to go see Noah. It's directed by Darren Aronofsky. You know, he's the guy behind Pi, Requiem for a Dream, The Wrestler, Black Swan. And it stars Russell Crowe, Jennifer Connelly, and Emma Watson. It also has a cameo with Anthony Hopkins, a lot of good actors. And I gotta say, it's not the movie that I was expecting going into it. I really was not expecting the film that I watched. Okay, I don't know exactly what I was expecting from a Darren Aronofsky version of the story of Noah, but I can tell you what I was not expecting. I was not expecting an almost complete re-imaging of the whole story, set in a world that really is just this fantasy setting bearing almost no resemblance to Earth, that involves rock demons that were cast out from heaven because they just wanted to help mankind. I was not expecting that. It's what I saw, but it's not what I was expecting. I'll also admit that at one point I was kind of worried that the film would be a little bit religiously preachy. I needn't have worried, however. It really doesn't preach religion at all. It's so far divorced from really the story of Noah in the Bible and Earth in general that it doesn't come across as trying to preach anything biblically. It doesn't even use the word God. It just says the Creator throughout the entire film. I probably should have been a little bit worried that it was going to be fairly environmentally and vegetarian preachy, because it is. And I can do with a message in a film. Message films actually can be quite good. Unfortunately, that requires the movie itself to be actually good, and Noah really wasn't, in spite of some of the best efforts from the actors that I've seen in quite some time. It's just not a really very good movie. So the problems with this movie really aren't with the directing, which is mostly fine, and it's certainly not with the acting, which is quite good. It's with the writing. The writing just comes across as dull and boring and not very fun, which is certainly not what should happen in a film that's about betrayals and temptation and miracles and love, and one that involves a giant fight scene midway through with the masses of humanity armed with weird magic blunderbusses fighting against giant rock demon monster things. That movie should not be dull and boring. But it is. I mean, large chunks of this movie are simply just Russell Crowe going around brooding as Noah, which he does fantastically, and other people going around being afraid of him, which they do fantastically. There's big bits where he goes and he surveys the mess that humanity's made of the world, and the movie tells you that it's because humanity has used up all the resources, and you know, shows like a black cancer spreading across the world, and you're shown bits of dead, devoid, lifeless landscapes, and there's scenes showing how horrible it is to eat meat, and Russell Crowe telling his kids how, you know, they only take what they use from the land, you know, they don't eat meat, and they only take as much as they need. And none of these are bad messages to try and get across, necessarily. None of it's bad. The problem is, the movie feels like it spent more effort pushing its message in your face than it did telling a good story, which just ends up giving you a bad story in the end, and that's what happened. You get all this message and preaching and preaching and messages and preaching, and then a little bit happening, and then Russell Crowe brooding, and it's just boring. I just don't think the majority of people are going to enjoy this movie. I mean, some people will, certainly. If all you want to do is see a very different take on the story of Noah's Ark, then this movie is right up your alley. If you just really, really, really love Darren Aronofsky films, go see it. If you love watching good performances from good actors, this movie is for you. It has some great performances from Russell Crowe, Emma Watson, Jennifer Connelly. Everyone involved does a fantastic job. But for the majority of people, I don't really think so. It just doesn't have a lot of mass appeal. There's no reason for most people to go see it. It's a little too preachy. Christians are probably going to be really upset because it's so different from the story in the Bible. It's just not a fun movie. If you agree or you disagree, please let me know. And until next time, folks, enjoy film.